How many dawns, chill from his rippling rest, the seagull's wings shall dip and pivot him, shedding white rings of tumult, building high over the chained bay water's liberty.
Then with inviolate curve forsake our eyes, as apparitional as sails that cross some page of figures to be filed away till elevators drop us from our day.
I think of cinemas, panoramic slates, with multitudes bent toward some flashing scene, never disclosed but hastened to again, foretold to other eyes on the same screen.
And thee across the harbor silver paced, as though the sun took step of thee yet left, some motion ever unspent in thy stride, implicitly thy freedom staying thee.
Out of some subway scuttle, cell, or loft, a bedlamite speeds to thy parapets. Tilting there momently, shrill shirt ballooning, a jest falls from the speechless caravan.
Down wall from girder into street noon leaks, a rip-tooth of the skies acetylene. All afternoon the cloud-flown derricks turn, thy cables breathe the North Atlantic still.
And obscure as that heaven of the Jews, thy guerdon accolade thou dost bestow, of anonymity time cannot raise, vibrant reprieve and pardon thou dost show.
O harp and altar of the fury fused, how could mere toil align thy choiring strings? Terrific threshold of the prophet's pledge, prayer of pariah and the lover's cry.
Again the traffic lights that skim thy swift, unfractioned idiom, immaculate sigh of stars, beating thy path, condense eternity, and we have seen night lifted in thine arms.
Under thy shadow by the piers I waited, only in darkness is thy shadow clear. The city's fiery parcels all undone, already snow submerges in an iron year.
O sleepless as the river under thee, vaulting the sea, the prairie's dreaming sod, unto us lowliest sometimes sweep, descend, and of the curved ship lend a myth to God. We analyze the poem The Bridge to Brooklyn Bridge, and the audience is the bridge, the speaker is the narrator. The occasion is at the end of the Second Industrial Revolution, and it's in Brooklyn. And the purpose is to bring hope after hardship and the want to move forward from the blindness and mindless toil of everyday life. The subject is that the bridge is a connector from the hardship and toil of life to the hope for the future. So the first stanza talks about a seagull, which is a bird that represents freedom, disrupting the chained bay waters. So it's saying that the water is trapped and freedom is disrupting its regular flow. And the second stanza is about the reader not being able to see something anymore. And the last two lines show imagery for the disconnect between action and meaning at this time in the poem. The third stanza talks about deceit that's all around us, such as when it says the panoramic slates, and that we keep falling for deceit and treachery over and over again. And the fourth stanza talks about the bridge having the freedom to move and to move people, but it stays still and doesn't budge.
So stanza 5 talks about someone going from a subway, which is like the everyday life in the city, and then they speed to the bridge to possibly commit suicide. And we got this mainly from the imagery of the shrill shirt ballooning, which is like a shirt blowing in the wind as if they were standing atop the bridge getting ready to jump. And then it says a jest falls from the speechless caravan, which the speechless caravan is like the people that don't really do anything. 6 is about how life keeps going on even after the traumatic event, like the suicide. And the last line is personification. It says, thy cables breathe the North Atlantic still. And at this point, the water is still not moving, which is representative of how life is still not moving forward at this point. So both 7 and 8 are about how the bridge offers like unity and an escape from punishment and their troubles. And 8 also talks about religion, and this is part of the author's purpose. So he uses an exclamation point to show that his tone is changing, and it's like an outcry, and he's very angry because he doesn't want his religion to be associated with lack of purpose because it is his purpose. And then stanza 9 talks about traffic lights, which are again another symbol of meaningless toil of the city and like meaningless actions. And the night lifted in thine arms, it shows hope for the future. It's like a sunset, or it's like a sunrise into a new day, compared to an earlier line in the second stanza that says, till elevators drop us from our day. So that contrasts from it. And then stanza 10, the last line shows that the hard year is over, the iron year, and then it's submerged in snow, which at times can represent like death. So the year is over and they can move on to something new. And the line, only in darkness is thy shadow clear, it is talking about how only in hard times do people come together and really see what matters. And then stanza 11, it says, "O sleepless as the river under thee." At this point, that's the first time that the water underneath the bridge is moving. So it shows that life is now moving on and people are understanding what it's all about. And he also talks about religion because he believes that religion can bring people together out of the mindless toil of life, just as the bridge does.